I apologize for that, oh, devoted viewers, all three of you crazy bottom feeders. Um, and welcome back to the continuation of our scene. As we had just left, a number of fallen angels, the fallen, etc., find themselves outside an ominous bookstore. Just at this moment, as I say, the bookstore's door yawns open, creaking on rusted hinges. There is an almost soft billow of dust that comes from underneath upon the floor as you see spread out before you, as pictured, a number of bookshelves, an incense burner that seems to spark and smoke with some vaguely pleasant smelling fumes. It smells vaguely of palm, cedarwood. It's almost intoxicating, seeming to say, "Come here, stay, stay forevermore." If a smell could speak.
So Asmeniel's gonna go in. He doesn't really talk. He just goes right in.
I'll follow behind. Is there another another person in here, or is it just an empty bookstore with things burning in it?
There's an incense burner. It appears to be contained. There's not like open flame. From what you can see, there's no one else in the room itself. But it is very difficult to tell with the bookshelves. Some could easily be standing behind a shelf or in a nook, and it would be very difficult to see them.
Yeah. So, I guess Brian would look around, go, definitely not in Kansas. Definitely not. And he'll toss his cigarette on the ground, so he'll walk inside.
Important question: you didn't stab your cigarette on the ground on the wooden floor, did you? Did it outside on the?
Yeah, I threw it on the ground outside.
Cool.
I'm not a douche.
10 points, not being douche.
Or an arsonist for burning the wooden floor down. Yeah.
I mean, if it was carpet, then yeah, you'd throw it on the carpet.
Is anybody here?
Celia looks around as well.
Nick, for his part, he'll kind of go in and sort of be more attentive towards the books, but would I be at what kind of books are in the library in this bookstore?
Very, very esoteric volumes. Half of them are written languages that are mind-bogglingly baffling. Human languages for sure, but some of them are forgotten, some of them are lost, and some of you will wonder if they were spoken within a dozen lifetimes. The books themselves are old, bound in leather. Some of them you could even swear may be bound in human leather. There's a great sense of age and a great sense of weight. In the glass compartments, or in the glass containers, and on small plinths, there are other odd items. You see a skull covered in Enochian glyphs, the first tongue, dipped in gold with many different iron spikes driven into it. You see You see statues of dragons from far-off Asian lands that almost seem to look at you as you enter, with interest gleaming in jewel-encrusted eyes.
He does have a couple of dots in occult and academics, if that helps.
I mean, if you want to roll it, you can.
Okay. Wits?
Intelligence.
Dirk.
Can I roll that as well?
Yep. Anyone to roll it? I have it.
I got one success to diff 7.
This is incredibly esoteric, incredibly valuable. This is stuff that most occult researchers would give their pinky finger just to read for an afternoon. if anyone does anyone look particularly at the skull that's sitting there?
No.
Actually, that comes to a second question I wanted to ask. You know about the whole supernatural awareness thing, right?
Repeat it.
Define what you mean, but yeah, if you mean
It's one of the innate. I was actually surprised that nobody else thought of rolling this at first, but all fall and have they're innately attuned to the fabric of reality, and so anytime that an evocation or energies or of celestial evocations and things of that nature happen, they can do a perception alertness. Could have sworn it was awareness. It's a D7 roll, and it's basically the equivalent. They can only sense things within like a mile radius of their faith. If you have
don't
3,
need
it's
to make it. This place has been cobbled together with an awful lot of the ability to weave the world, shall we say? Because you do not weave magic, work your will upon the world. You weave the world itself.
Yeah, so basically the answer is yes when he walks.
The answer is a lot of yes.
So we're from Akrathia.
One second. Yes.
I would like to look at the skull if that's permissible.
Okay. As you look at the skull, it is definitely a human skull. You would estimate by the size of that it is an adult skull. As you look at it, and you can read, all Fallen can read Enochian. It is the first language. It is the language that you spoke before the fall. There may be a remembrance requirement to read it in the future, but from now I'm going to say that you can all do so until I'm told you can't. On the back of it, they are glyphs of warding and containing. The iron nails each have binding rights written on them in tiny filigree. You're not exactly sure what would happen if you pulled them out.
I would.
The door, and he really doesn't say anything.
Sorry, one second. Moira, continue what you were saying.
Those are things that are there for a reason. Let's put that back.
Oh, did you pick up the skull?
I assumed it was out on the counter, if that's permissible.
It's sitting on a small plinth on a cushion. You can pick it up if you like.
Yes.
Okay. As you do, you hear something screaming, like full force, agonized screaming in your ears.
Oh, something's bound into the skull. I'm going to put it back down. That sounds awful.
Not quite something. There's a voice, a kind of delicate voice. It sounds like the tickling of glass as it falls, cascades onto the floor. Not quite something. More apt to say someone.
I'll put it back and, look rather like a child who has been told off for picking up something I shouldn't pick up.
Stepping around from one of the bookshelves, you will see this man. Company, guests, please come in. So lovely to see you all. Yes. Oh, my poor darling. He's going to walk over and he is going to very gently take Quincy by the hand. And he's going to say, you're you. Oh, you poor thing. Come in, please.
Why can't I hear him? Where am I? You see him, he's like shaking almost like.
It's all right. Come now, come inside. I'll attempt to explain all that I can in due time. Yes. Welcome. Yes, I'll close the door. Welcome, all of you. So very pleased to meet you all. Oh, please, would you take seats? I'm a terrible host. May I offer tea, refreshments of some kind? Perhaps another sandwich. You say, looking at the person who was eating a sandwich. Someone was eating a sandwich.
Right. She got offered another sandwich.
Okay, I'll eat it.
No, he was saying, would you like another sandwich? Not, I have a sandwich right here, eat the sandwich.
Sorry. No, thank you. I just ate.
Oh, I understand. Yes. Oh, please, won't you, yes, sitting is good. Yes, just over here. Just over here. He will walk around behind a bookshelf, and as you follow him, you will see a number of armchairs. Very large, comfortable, sumptuous leather armchairs have been set up in front of a crackling fire. Rather pleasant fire. And there's a teapot with a number of cups, as well as a small multi-story little basket that contains cakes and biscuits.
Oh, like, does it look like real tea?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Please, won't you sit down, all of you? It's so wonderful to have company. I really should get out more, but these things happen. Yes.
What things exactly, if you don't mind me asking? I don't know why I'm using an American.
He can be American, it's fine.
No, you're supposed to be Irish, or at least, Ulster.
The meeting of people. The fact is that today, upon the crossroads, you turned 3 times, took 2 left and 2 right, and ended up here. But then again, I knew you would. It was only sweet inevitability. But inevitability is only the cause of probability. But that's neither here nor there now, is it?
Well, that depends entirely on your perspective of causality and praxeology.
Yes. Yes, it is. Doesn't it?
If you don't mind me saying, praxeology, whilst it may be the study of human interaction, it's not a good indicator of reality. Anything outside of human interaction, like, well, this. And Nick starts pointing everywhere. This, you would have to have a very keen eye, or another eye, to really notice what's going on around here.
More so, you would have to be fated to be here. Because time. Oh, I do beg your pardon, a slight twitch of mine. If any of you have a mechanical wristwatch, something of that ilk, if you would not mind removing it, please. If it is digital, I don't mind. But if it is mechanical, please remove it.
So thankful.
It's up to you if your characters have a mechanical wristwatch.
No.
No.
Hey, Evan, does my character have a mechanical wristwatch?
Your character does not have a mechanical wristwatch.
Thank you.
But he will sit down and he will say, "You are all children, and it's so good to see children again." Ah, yes. Well, children in the sense of new to here, new to you, new to this blood, this flesh. Different. Yes, very different. You understand? Where should we begin? Where should we begin?
You could always start at the beginning.
Ah, yes. When there was light. When it was the clarion call sounded. That beautiful time before there was time. Perhaps we should do introductions. Allow me to, as your host, introduce myself. Yes. This is called Gunther Alexander, a mere proprietor of occultic acts and the like. In a previous time, in an iteration long before. Sorry, somebody's asking questions on Facebook. For the record, I very rarely look at Facebook when I'm running it, so if you ask a question for me, please ask the questions. Because I very rarely look at Facebook when I run things. Just give me a... I'm just going to send the Hangout link again, and then I'm going to continue. In a time before there was time, my name. Yes, I haven't said it in so very long. It's interesting how it is you lose track of things like that, isn't it? My name was Naharael. Okay. If anyone would like to roll an intelligence, or if anyone would like to roll in, I can never remember its actual name.
Legacy. Legacy?
Legacy.
Yes. If anyone would like to roll an intelligence legacy check, difficulty 6, to know who Naharael is. Because his name isn't important.
I do have a certain merit which allows me to reduce the difficulty of that. I can't remember how much it is. I think it might be -2, but I'll just double check that.
I get all the successes. I get 6 successes.
I was going to say it's going to be a threshold of 3 successes because I rather do thresholds than just say you know this and you know this and you know this.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Ridiculously good or ridiculously bad?
3 successes good.
Hooray!
3 successes on 4 dice.
Hooray!
4 successes.
Yeah, just 1 success.
Okay.
That is, and Moira also got 3.
Okay.
We'll go 3s.
So you get 3 successes more. Naharael is probably of all of the fallen who you ever remember the name of in one of the most tragic. It was because of his job. His job made him basically before the fall. His task was really simple. In a time when only animals could die, Naharael's job was simple. He gave each thing their allotted time in the hourglass that was their life. And in the end, he shattered the hourglass when they died. That was his purpose. He managed their time, essentially. But he was driven insane when he had to start smashing the hourglasses of angels, things that should never die. And man, the thing that was meant to be immortal until, of course, after the
fall.
After Adam's betrayal. So he went utterly insane at that point, having to shatter the hourglasses of the things that he came to cherish, because he gave everything their he essentially gave the immortality to things that should never die, but then had to take it away. Did anyone get? Because there's an interesting one. Did anyone get 4 or did anyone get 5 or more successes?
Yes, I got
Yes.
6.
Oh,
5.
Those who got 5 or more successes. He was also, and after the fall, he was known as, when he did fall, because he didn't fall originally, he fell after a while during the fall. He was not one of the first, but he worked his way up to become, and his title was the Left Hand of Asmodeus. Any of you, do I need to tell people who Asmodeus is, or are they good?
I think we know who that dude is. Ooh.
I think that was
But that was a very long time ago. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
When she recognizes him, Santika's eyes widen in a mix between horror and remembrance.
Quincy starts crying because this starts bringing back very unpleasant memories.
It's all right. Shh. Don't cry.
Curls in his chair and he's holding himself, rocking gently, because it's a little much right now. Face touching his body. It's like everything is very surreal and odd. Sort of like someone that is super transfixed on themselves.
All will become clear in time. They say it heals all wounds. Huh? Funny. But you are all welcome in my humble home.
Asmaniel is just going to like lean against the wall next to the fireplace to look as edgy as possible, and then he's just going to like watch the group.
I was gonna say, Joey, Kim isn't here. You don't have to go over the top.
No. I forgot one important detail. He takes one foot, lifts one foot up, and puts it on the wall. So he's standing on one foot. That's even edgier.
Wow.
Hey, oh, please. Yes, that'd be appropriate. He will start to pour tea into cups. Just pouring generous helpings of the dark brown liquid into cups. There is cream, there is sugar, there is milk, there is lemon, there is honey.
I mean,
You know what? Sorry.
it was fine. I'll doctor up my tea and drink it quietly. Tastes like water.
Sweet water.
No, it just tastes like water. My character has no sense of taste. It's just polite.
Oh, no. This you can taste.
Oh?
Yes.
Can I smell it too?
Yes.
That's unusual. Like,
Something goes through your head. You immediately think, what would happen if I ate a biscuit?
I mean, yeah, like the 3 years she's been in this body, she has yet to taste anything or smell anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll eat a biscuit.
Hey, you can taste that biscuit. It's a pretty good biscuit.
Any biscuit's a good biscuit. It could be knockoff Jamie Dodgers, and I'm sure she'd enjoy it.
I have no context for what that is.
Jammy Dodgers?
Oh, yes, sorry, we do have those.
Yes.
That sounds like something to do with jam.
It is.
It is.
It's a jam biscuit covered in chocolate.
We have
Would it be
it.
classified as a cake, though?
There was also cake on there are cupcakes on his little tray. They have frosting.
Messy. Jamie Dodgers are pretty tasty.
Nick, for his part, he'll just sit on one of the chairs and he'll just kind of like somewhat eye some of the books around his general periphery.
He touches the chair, touches himself, eyes flicking back and forth, trying to his head, trying to make or forcibly jar memories back, but sort of going through fits as if, and shaking his head visibly as trying to force out particularly harsh memories, but trying to put faces to names. To anyone like looking at him, it looks like he's going through like an actual fit.
Hmm. You keep admiring my books.
And Nick will just kind of like swatch over to Nuriel. Is it Nuriel?
Nahirael.
Nahirael, excuse me. And he's like, oh, sorry. Is that a genuine copy of Paradise Lost with Paradise Regained? Like first
Yes.
edition?
Yes,
Can I look at it?
by all means.
And he'll take the book. I don't have the actual copy. I just have a cheap Collins Classics on my part. Why not? And he'll just kind of like look through the cover of it, and just look at the back, and just generally have the weight of the book in his hand, and just start like lightly thumbing through some of the pages, carefully, of course.
You will see written. You will see there are actual notes written in Latin or written in Italian in the actual book itself.
Italian.
Italian.
Fucking hell, John Milton was English.
I'm aware of this. It might have been him who wrote the notes.
As Manil's going to try some tea, completely not even noticing the book, like masturbation going on over in the corner.
It's a very good tea.
It is.
Let's see if he likes it.
Like Moira can be seen like pouring herself cup after cup of tea.
And noticing this, Celia decides to that discretion is the better part of valor.
Your host stands up and walks to Moira before he kneels down if she's sitting so that his head is roughly level with hers, and he'll say, I made this place so that the pain of the world could be forgotten. Clearly it has enabled you to forget something that caused you anguish.
I mean, I haven't been able to taste in 3 years, or smell for that matter.
For the briefest of times, it has made wrong the right and right the wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't mind. It's nice. Like, it's much better than the texture of soy protein.
Huh. Interesting. I enjoy soya. I think. Maybe. Yes.
I mean, it's when you can't taste, you just buy what's cheap.
An interesting reaction.
I mean, why spend the money on a $30 steak if I can't taste it? Or a 30
What?
euro steak, sorry.
Why bother to spend money when you can take?
Because jail, mostly.
Oh. Fascinating.
I mean, that's why most people don't steal, isn't it?
Hmm.
Where are they?
Hmm.
Are we still at war?
No.
Hmm. In a manner of speaking.
Is that why we can't hear him? Are we still being punished?
You must. Well, for a start, you're a devil, aren't you?
No, I am not a devil.
You are. Because only devils can ever directly hear the voice of God.
Oh, okay. but I assume that us devils can't even now, right? Because he's gone. Yeah, exactly.
My apologies. I've got to get going. Something has come up. My apologies. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
No worries. Hope to see you around.
Yes.
Yeah, see ya. I wasn't sure if that was in character or out of character. See ya.
I will be back. I promise.
I shall hope that that is indeed the case.
Would you like your Coke?
He looks, almost touching his face. He almost as if where he is, he almost as if he's trying to piece together things in his head. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out, as the words come back to him, his wallet, and looks at the ID. And this body is called Quincy, but my name's Gavil.
Well, it is good to know that you're coming to some semblance of understanding as to your new condition, my friend.
Everything is cold and I guess sure can.
Alright, no.
Okay, basically, I'm going to make a new rule. If you've got Eminence 4 or above, yes, you can roll to understand who they were in a previous era, because why not?
Eminence or Legacy?
No, if you've got Eminence... Okay,
Okay.
if you've got Eminence 4 or above, you can roll Intelligence Legacy to remember who you were, because you were important.
Okay.
3 gives you like who he is, like what he did before. Like 4 and 5 is what he did later.
No memory.
I've only got 2, so.
He looks and it's almost as if he's trying to piece together the words. What time is this? Is this? What is this?
It is interesting. From when date, but the context, the date, and I know nothing you remember.
You sort of broke up at that and kind of went a little bit robotic. Can you repeat that, please?
I said I could quote a date, but I would need to know what the last thing is you remember to give the date context.
Oh. This body remembers going to work and working hard, but I remember standing, fighting, and then everything went black.
It has been longer than long since then. When it was, we were cast away, locked, until it was many were freed.
So we should go back, right? It's the way he says back, right? It's almost as if you know when a child has been caught doing something awfully wrong?
Mm-hmm.
That it's almost as if the next words out of his mouth is almost as if I'm about to be scolded if I don't do the right thing next. Harshly.
Honestly, can you just not see the fact we've like posted a hangout like twice? This is my life today. Apparently Jesse, like, he's posted twice about like, are we not doing anything after we posted the hangout twice?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well.
So, no, unfortunately, dear, we can never go back.
The look that he gives you is almost as a dog has been struck in the face entirely too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've crushed something very delicate in your hands and dropped it on the floor and stepped on it. Full on Ebenezer Scrooge style.
The eggs have been cracked, Celia says. Now it's time to make omelette.
And you see kind of like Nick putting his hands up once he's put the Book of Paradise Lost down.
Shakes his head vigorously.
If I can just ask a question to the floor, how many of us actually know where here is right now compared to how it was before?
Brian raise
Like a tourist caught in the middle of Times Square. Where is here?
Okay,
Exactly.
So, let's get it all in order going. So that is Anthony. Sorry, Chris, you were saying something?
Yeah. When Nick asked the question, Brian would actually, raise his finger. Yeah, I know where here is. Well, not here is in this room or the street that only extends out to the edges of the street. I mean the fact of, well, Ireland.
Yeah, but
And
where was Ireland before?
can't recall that.
I can't either.
Like, I mean, for the lols, can I roll legacy to see if I know where Ireland was before?
Pangaea.
Oh, okay, Pangaea.
I'm joking.
So, no, we can never go back. That does not mean that we do not exist for a reason. I have walked this earth in this body since. You see him half close his eyes, trying to remember. 1939. When it was that in the dying or the birthdays of fascism, a group decided to enact rites and speak summoning words, and dragged me free from my prison. So, I've seen humanity, that thing that so many of us struggled so hard to protect. I've seen them and the cruelties that they do upon one another, ending lives with the simple flicking of a wrist and the tensing of a finger on a trigger. Humanity is an interesting creature now, much changed from what it was when the world was young.
The resident slayer says nothing.
Nor does the the devil.
Because on a side note, if you ever want to be older in Demon than when the maelstrom cracked open, you have to have been summoned and bound, and that's how that worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
Nick, Nick just simply just nods his head. We were worse.
some, yes.
Say again?
He said some were, yes.
Curls up tighter.
I think we all know what happens when we use each other's names. So maybe their titles, if we need to mention any of the others, in case they're here.
Oh, yes. I am led to understand that a new court will be born soon in this city. A new tyrant will rise in order to sit a throne of alabaster and skulls, as it has been, as it shall be, and as it will be again. You will all no doubt be called in order to witness such event when the time comes. Hmm.
Um,
In the meantime, he will look at the others and he'll look down at Quincy and he'll say, how about until you come to understand, you stay with me? You can read about the world before it is you need to see the world.
Shakes his head emphatically.
As in, no.
As in, yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sorry, where I come from, whenever you shake your head, it means no. Whenever you nod your head, it means yes.
Fair enough. I always get those two confused. I'm weird.
Okay, fine. But he'll go back to his chair and he'll kind of cross his legs and he'll say, so it is, so it shall be, so it can be again. Is time not an illusion? Maybe it is. You may keep the book if it interests you.
oh, it's fine piece, don't get me wrong. I've kind of read this one, all these ones already. I just kind of noticed that, has kind of a vintage to it, and, well, you'd probably get more use out of it selling it to someone.
Consider it a gift in that case. Something
Oh.
for you to buy.
Oh, thanks. If you find anything, in your business about I don't know, Agenda 21 or something like that, let me know. I'll consider buying it from you.
What is Agenda 21?
Kind of something. Well, I've kind of noticed that there's these patterns that are going on in reality, and a lot of the humans have been, well, I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to presume anyone's house here, but if a devourer were to look at what's happened to this planet, I would imagine that they would have gotten, well, if ours could have heart attacks, I imagine that they probably would have seen that. But basically, it's kind of about how something is changing the environment, and it's not, I think, just humans doing it. It looks too organized. It's not just something that's coincidental. Nothing ever is. Trust me. I'm of House Nibiru.
If nothing else, then we share a house.
Oh. Great. I was kind of I was kind of worried that. Well, I don't like. I mean, fiend is kind of derogatory, but considering how some of our house were, well, you're the first fiend that first of my house that I've met since I got out.
I do my best to be not what people would expect.
Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Nick Stark.
He will extend his hand.
And Nick will take it and shake his hand.
And actually, as far as the animals are concerned, while they have grown greatly out of their natural habitats and created new ones, actually, in some cases, they've also changed pretty impressively. Along with some of the new species, actually kind of interesting. I mean, have you seen like the difference between a liger and Tygon? I mean, that alone is actually kind of interesting. Just that intermixing.
No, I don't remember anything bigger than. I don't really remember anything bigger than a house cat, really. But then again, I do kind of recall when things first started, and not everything was, not everything was as set as it once was. I mean, we all thought that the world to start with was going to be flat, but then we got the idea that, well, the creator had the idea of making the world more than just a two-dimensional. We had to have 3 dimensions. And then we had the brief discussion about whether the world should be a sphere or a decahedron. Did we make the right choice?
If it helped, I remember having to be one of the entities that created gravity, and I swore never again.
Decahedron would have had more edge.
Yes. But do you have any idea how much that would have thrown off the calculations for the grand math as it pertained mass to weight to inertia ratio?
And Nick kind of looks up a little bit. No. I did remember how to affect that, though. I just can't remember how I'm supposed to do it.
You simply do it.
Yeah.
There is no how. There is merely, essentially, the ability or the lack thereof.
Like a muscle that's not been flexed.
Correct. There are others who chant words of power, who enforce their will upon the world by the fact their will can overwhelm the world. Our will generates the world. So it is we essentially have the keys to it.
We passed along the creator's will. Celia suddenly says as she gets this kind of a look in her eyes as her player rolled 5 successes on an intelligence legacy roll.
What do you want to know? Oh, sorry.
She looks at no. She doesn't want to know anything. She's remembering. I remember hearing his voice passing along the words, passing along the orders from the throne. It seems an eternity ago. It was an eternity ago.
Yeah.
It was time before there was time. It is incorrect to say an eternity, because there was no concept of eternity in those moments.
No. Not until we started prodding at it.
Indeed.
And then things got a little weird.
But yes, needless to say, there will be a great gathering of us soon, when it is that the new tyrant wishes to see us all, and we shall see what we shall see.
This body is experiencing. I shouldn't use that. I'm feeling anxiety. That's the right word. Can I go somewhere to read and be
Yes,
less anxious?
by all means, take any book that you desire. He'll point to a staircase and he'll say, "There are many rooms upstairs. Just try not to get lost."
And Waves picks up a book and just begins walking upstairs in a quickened pace, as if he can't social anymore right now.
Anyway, I'm going to bring the scene to a close at this point, mostly because my chest is killing me.
Okay.
That was a good intro to get everyone to meet each other and do the talking thing. So, thank you guys for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been the inaugural scene for Demon in Darkness and Dublin.